So where are we?
Yeah, I think what we've heard from Republican senators today is say that, yes, McConnell was acknowledging the political reality that there's a real challenge to any deal here, but he wasn't saying this deal is off, this deal is dead. And there are a number of Republicans who came out today and said they want to get something done. They see this as a once-in-a-generation chance to actually get some of their tougher border policies enacted. And they don't think that opportunity will be there after this election because Democrats won't have the same political needs, and the Ukraine aid may not be on the table at that point as well. So you might not have the Democratic votes for this after the election this year.
And of course, Megan, the Senate's just one piece of the puzzle. Our question always has been about the House. Maybe now we have questions about the Senate, too. But the idea being, even if there was a deal to be made between the Senate negotiators and the White House, how was Speaker Johnson ever going to be able to put it on the floor and get enough votes?
House Republicans really want to stick with their own version of the bill, which is a Republican-only bill, which is extremely different than the compromise that senators are trying to hatch. So this will really hinge on Johnson, who is under pressure from Trump to not proceed with any deal that comes out of the Senate. A deal would probably pass the House on the backs of Democrats and about half of the Republican caucus. But putting that vote on the floor is up to Mike Johnson. And if he doesn't want it, it's not going to be on the floor.
Well, you're starting to get questions about anything that could be described as progress, whether it's on a border deal or now this tax deal, Jonathan, that we've been talking about quite a bit, bicameral, bipartisan. But we're hearing from members on both sides of the aisle in the Senate Finance Committee that they want to mark up on this thing, which would likely make it impossible to pass it before tax season, which they wanted to do, tax filing season, if at all. Could this maybe be on the rocks, too?
Yeah, I mean, it's a deal that's been negotiated by the leaders of the committees, and now the members of the committees, the individual rank-and-file members, are taking a look, and they want their priorities addressed. And there's a lot of different ways for conservatives are concerned about the child tax credit, that may be too much refundability for their liking. There are Republicans and Democrats from high-tax states like New York and New Jersey who want the state and local tax deduction restored in some way. So everybody's going to want a piece of this if this is one of the few bills that's actually moving through Congress this year. So, yeah, there's a lot of extra steps that could come to this tax deal as well.
Does that make it less likely?
It certainly makes it more challenging, certainly makes it harder to do it very quickly. I mean, the question, if they can do it next week to get ahead of tax filing season, it's a really difficult one to forecast right now. It faces a lot of hurdles for sure.
So if they can't figure out how to get a bipartisan tax deal actually across the finish line, if they can't figure out how to get a potential bipartisan compromise on the border and Ukraine aid across the finish line, how are we ever, Jonathan, going to sort out funding the government beyond March?
Well, that's one where they seem to have, where both sides seem to not want a shutdown. I mean, it's an election year, so people are really wary of giving wins to the other side. A not shutdown kind of serves everybody. Republicans are worried about getting blamed for that, and they've at least agreed to the top line deal. It seems like that is something they'll get done at some point, but anything beyond kind of keeping the lights on does become really difficult in an election year.
I can talk to us more about the influence that Donald Trump is or is not having on all of these conversations in the House and the Senate. The line from Mitch McConnell was, we don't want to do anything to undermine him. He referred to Donald Trump as the nominee.
Yes.
Should we not also be looking at him as the leader of the Republican Party on Capitol Hill?
Yeah, well, I don't know that he has ever not been. He cast a long shadow since leaving office. But I do get the sense on the Hill, particularly coming out of New Hampshire, there's an inevitability surrounding his nomination. He's picking up support on the Hill. And with that, his weighing in on legislation has a newfound power, one that it didn't have with people like Mitch McConnell and perhaps even some of the negotiators on this border deal. They see him as the next president, or at least the next GOP nominee for the presidency, which makes him the leader of the party. And what he says, he can really tip the scales in terms of which way this legislation is going to go. But he has this running back and forth with Mitch McConnell. The two of them have not always seen eye to eye. And Mitch McConnell is going to try to keep this deal alive because he wants to get that funding to Ukraine, which is key to this. Ukraine will not get funded without a border deal.
Yeah, you start wondering, Kailey, if he's laying the groundwork for a standalone Ukraine funding bill, knowing that this border deal just might not happen.
Well, we know Mitch McConnell is a tactician, a proven one, so potentially this is him trying to negotiate perhaps more publicly than usual. Just on the idea of Trump being the leader, Megyn, finally, the real leader of the House of Representatives is supposed to be the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. Is the one potential upside of not getting these deals done the idea that he won't have to put them on the floor and potentially risk the gavel, that maybe he just remains Speaker until we have a Congress in 2025?
Yes. I mean, doing nothing definitely works to Mike Johnson's political advantage. It's the doing something, the border and Ukraine, that really puts him in jeopardy if Republicans don't get all of what they want. Funding the government is also difficult for him because he's really hamstrung by these hardliners. Even the tax deal is difficult because hardliners don't want to give Joe Biden a leg up on this, and because, as John pointed out, moderate Republicans, particularly those in New York and New Jersey, are very upset that the SALT tax was not increased as part of this deal. So he's getting it from both ends there. So doing nothing is definitely perhaps his preferred strategy, but that also makes him a weaker speaker.